Hello and welcome. My name is Jim Sullivan. I'm the Department Chair of Civil Engineering and Geomatics at AB Tech. And I've got a presentation titled, Is Engineering Right for You? So I'm going to start with a few questions and just think to yourself about the answers to these questions. Have you ever thought of a better way to do something? Maybe an improved process or a shortcut or something that would make the process easier? Have you ever repaired something instead of replacing it? Have you ever been curious about how something is built? Maybe even taken it apart just to take a look and see. Do you enjoy creating things, solving problems, and helping others? If you answered yes to some of these questions, then an engineering career could be a good fit for you. But for these careers, you really need to be able to look at the world a little bit differently. What do I mean by that? Well, let's see an example from math. So traditionally, we would have a problem, 5 plus 4, and the answer, of course, is 9, right? There's no discussion about that. There's no debate. There's just one right answer, and it's 9. So let's flip that around a little bit. What if instead we asked, well, what is 9 equal to? That really opens us up to lots of possibilities, right? And so I'd encourage you, if you like, just to go ahead and pause the recording, grab a piece of paper, and see if you can write down a few things. Those might be mathematical expressions, or they may be other things that equal 9. Go ahead and pause. So hopefully you were able to think of several things that equal 9. If you're mathematically inclined, you might have thought of something like 3 squared, or maybe the square root of 81. Or you might have thought of something non-mathematical altogether, for example, the number of Supreme Court justices, or the number of lives a cat has. So the point is there's a number of different right answers. And we find that in engineering quite often. Very often we'll have multiple options, and we have to discuss those with other team members or other clients or maybe some of the regulatory agencies and figure out which of those multiple possible right answers is really the best fit for this particular project. So in that way, I think engineering is kind of fun because it takes a different approach. There isn't really one right answer, but very often there are multiple right answers, and we have to use our engineering judgment to figure out which one is really the best fit. So why AB Tech? Well, you can get a great education and it's affordable. Typically, we have tuition of about less than $2,500 a year. And as the parent of several students who went on to the university, I can tell you that AB Tech's tuition is about a third of the cost at the universities. The education at AB Tech will prepare you for jobs. You'll be able to get out right away and go right to work, even with just the 2-year degree. And in some cases, even less. There are short-term diplomas and certificates that can prepare you for jobs even more quickly than that. But I'd say probably about 80% of our students just go right out and go right to work after the 2-year degree. But you can still transfer to the 4-year colleges as well. In fact, our graduates are very highly desired by the universities because they've already proven that they can do well in college. And so they're very desirable to the universities. When I was growing up, my parents used to tell me that you really just needed a high school diploma in order to get a job. And maybe when they were growing up, that was true. But nowadays, over 70% of jobs in the US require some sort of post-secondary education. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a bachelor's degree. Certainly, an associate's degree is a great way to get a job. In some cases, you just need a certification or a license or a credential. But the point is that over 70% of jobs require something after high school. So it's just a matter of figuring out what is the best fit for you. So why engineering? Well, you can get a job in Western North Carolina. There are many local engineering companies, private engineering firms that hire our graduates. Also, many of the manufacturing facilities locally hire engineers for their staffs as well. And you can also work for government agencies, and those really kind of fall into two camps. One is production oriented. So that might be, for example, the Department of Transportation, where they actually build roads and bridges. It might also be one of the regulatory agencies like North Carolina Department of Environment and Natural Resources, NCDENR, and they enforce the environmental regulations and make sure that projects are built correctly and according to environmental standards. You can even work someplace else if you like. Most of my graduates wind up going to work right here in Western North Carolina, but I've had a number of graduates that have gone to all parts of the United States. I have them in Alaska, California, Colorado, in the Dakotas, up in Pennsylvania, and down in Florida. So they can really go almost anywhere they want with a degree from AB Tech. The credential is very portable. I've even had a few that have gone overseas and worked for short-term contracts overseas. So really, you can go anywhere you want. You'll find a job in Western North Carolina, but if you want to move, you can always take that credential with you. I thought this graphic was interesting because it shows the number of STEM jobs advertised for each STEM worker. And you'll notice that North Carolina is just in the second tier, which doesn't sound that impressive. But if you look at the numbers, you'll see that what this tells me is that for every worker in STEM, and STEM is just an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math. So the science and technology careers in general. But what this says is that for every one of those workers, there is 10 jobs, at least 10 jobs, depending on the field. So what that means is if you get tired of your job or, on the off chance that you get laid off from your job, you're going to find it really easy to get another one. And in fact, you'll probably have more than one option for your next job. So that's really nice too. The jobs pay well. 70% higher wages for science and technology workers than the non-STEM workers. And the expected growth over the next decade is about 8% per year. And so what that means is not only do the jobs pay better, but there are also more of them every year. With training at AB Tech, we have 5 different engineering technology programs: civil engineering technology, geomatics technology, electronics engineering technology, computer engineering technology, and mechanical engineering technology. And I just found out we've been approved for a brand new one. It's starting in fall 2021. We're also going to offer mechatronics engineering. So that one is coming this fall. For me, a career in engineering really made a lot of sense. I initially thought I wanted to work in computer science, but I enjoyed that as a hobby, but figured out that I really didn't want to do that as a career. And then I was looking at some materials that one of my roommates had, and he had textbooks out. He was a mechanical engineering student. He had his textbooks out. And so I was looking through those and I thought, oh, this is really interesting. And so I looked at some of his homework problems and they just seemed like fun problems. So that kind of led me towards engineering. And I decided that was the right career for me. Why? Well, because it led to a good paying job. I can live and work anywhere, as I mentioned earlier. I can help design things that improve the lives of others. And I think it's a lot of fun, very creative, and I really get to problem solve and analyze things, which I enjoy. Why civil engineering in particular? Of all the other disciplines, this one just appealed to me because it allowed me to help make my community a better place. I've had the opportunity before I started working at AB Tech to work for the Department of Transportation. And so I got to build bridges, I got to build highways that improve congestion and reduce accidents and help make travel safer. We've worked on projects that have preserved natural ecosystems for wildlife and designed infrastructure that saves lives. But one of the most fun things for me is the opportunity to give back. And because I'm a civil engineer, I actually had the chance to travel to Central America 2 times to Guatemala and 1 time to Nicaragua, where I actually got to work on drilling wells for communities that didn't have reliable access to clean drinking water. Before that time, they were just using surface wells that often were contaminated, or they were getting water out of a river that wasn't particularly clean. And so because of my involvement with civil engineering, I was able to help drill a well for this community. And now they have access to safe and clean drinking water. So that's my story. I hope you're interested in engineering. And if you are, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, either on engineering in general Or if you have any specific questions about our programs or any of the courses we offer, I hope you'll contact me at my email listed here. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.